Now, let's try hope, rate, and I'm going to put block, otherwise they're going to, okay. Now, also, do not use Boolean phrase, or it'll only give you stuff that is it'll only give you stuff that's about Pope rate block, which isn't going to show up much anywhere. So find all my search terms. We also want linked full text and scholarly peer-reviewed journals. Ta-da! Linked full text means you can print it out. Commodity and religion in Pope's The Rape of the Lock. Oh, that would be really good. You know, religion, like talking about the Bible, the Puffs, Patches, Bibles, Billadoo, whatever. What does he think about? Consumerism. Consumerism, that could actually work for this topic even. Okay.
Sorry, what were the boxes you put when you search?
Yeah, okay, and this is on the video over there on the page. Find all my search terms. You click linked full text and click scholarly peer-reviewed journals, okay? And let's do, yeah. And so we've got 27 results, okay? You can find, these are 27 articles you can print out at home, okay? So, creating people for popular consumption, echoes of Pygmalion and the Rape of the Lock. Alchemy is a satire, a history of sylphs, if you wanted to do something on the sylphs. You might not want Byron. Unveiling of the dressing table in Pope's Rape of the Lock. We talked a lot about that. Wow, it's even got tablecloths as a subject. I've never heard of that. The game of Ombre, that's the card game. All of these things would, you know, you could look at them. Now, okay, I will show you how it works. You click on HTML full text or PDF full text. Click on that. Apparently we don't have Adobe Reader, or it doesn't know what to do with it or something. Make sure that, there we go. There we go. Okay, sometimes you have to click around to find what we're looking for. This is from, okay, Commodity and Religion in the SEL. I don't know what that is, but it's, I don't know. Okay, but you'll see you can print the whole thing out. It's a scholarly, it's a peer-reviewed journal. Maybe it's Studies in English Literature, something like that. But you've got this whole thing here, the whole article. We're going to go all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to show you another place to find sources. There. Okay, you get to the end, and very often you will have notes at the end, or you will have footnotes at the bottom of the page. You can use those as well to find some other sources, okay? Like they reference Richard Kroll, Pope and Drugs, The Pharmacology of the Rape of the Lock. I had never had thought of that in there. But you could do an interlibrary loan if we don't have that article in the library. So that tells you, that shows you how, and all of that is on that video that's on the J page, the J section page. I walk you through what to click, how to find all those things, and how to print it out. And you just click wherever the, well, hang on. You just click on, there's a little printer icon over here at the right. Under tools. You can also email it to yourself if you're at the library. Okay. Now, here's what not to do. Let's try going to Google. Okay. And we're going to try Pope Rape of the Lock. Okay. Pardon?
Wikipedia.
Yeah, well, you go to Wikipedia, type it in, and go all the way to the bottom where it says literature on, all the books.
Because it doesn't come through the University of Mobile Library.
So every source we have has got to come through our library.
Yes, yes. But you can do it at home. Just go to the UN library, and because those are ones that are indexed in the Modern Language Association. What you don't want to do is Sparks Notes. That's really bad. You don't want to use, I'll click on Wikipedia here, and okay, so you're saying, can you not, okay, external links. A study guide with complete text, that's not going to be scholarly. That's for some high school student who didn't want to read it. Okay? The Rape of the Lock and other poems at Project Gutenberg. Project Gutenberg is a good thing, but all that's going to do is give you the text of the Rape of the Lock and other poems by Pope. And the Rape of the Lock, the opera, it might be interesting to watch it, but no. Okay. That's not going to help you. E-notes. Don't do e-notes. Okay? For one thing, if this is what I think it is, it's just going to give you a basic summary. Plot and major characters. Oh, yippee. I mean, you already know that. You should. Major themes. Fusing high humor and moralization. The Rape of the Lock offers an ironic perspective. And I will tell you, if I got this sentence, fusing high humor and moralization, The Rape of the Lock offers an ironic perspective on contemporary manners combined with a deep appreciation for the vitality of 18th century beau monde. I will tell you right now, how many of you know what beau monde means? Well, you might know what beau monde means because it's French. But who knows what beau monde means? What does beau monde mean? Great world, beautiful world? Okay. Now there are very few people. I don't know that I have any students, except for maybe 2 in this class, who would use that phrase. And they certainly would not say, The Rape of the Lock offers an ironic perspective on contemporary manners combined with a deep appreciation. That's just not the way you guys write. So if I ran across this, here's what I would do. I would go, do this. I'll do copy here instead of typing it in. And then I would go over here to Google. See, paste. Okay, I just want to show you what not to do. Let's just see what happens when I do this. Okay, is that the whole thing? I'm deleting everything that was before it. That's all I want is just... Okay, let me see what happens when I do that. Oh, look! The first hit is e-notes. See, you shouldn't cut and paste in your papers because it's super easy to find major themes under e-notes. So don't ever do that. It only takes that long. Now, it takes that long for me to find it, but it takes me 2 or 3 hours to get over it. Okay? And then that makes me really mad when I'm grading papers when I've wasted 2 or 3 hours being mad. So don't cut and paste. Okay? Yes?
Even if, we know the source,
Okay. In that case, also, that phrase right there is clearly a phrase, number one, by somebody who's somewhat scholarly, and it is also so general about the book. That phrase is so general, it's like a whole summary of the whole thing, that I know it's not scholarly, because a scholarly source is going to be about the colonialism, the post-colonial interpretation of blah, 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 blah. So this is obviously from e-notes or Sparks Notes or something like that. Even though it sounds real profound, it's not. But if you've got that other thing that we had looked at from the University of Mobile Library, once you do that, yes, if you've got a scholarly source, literature, and you're using either, now look, there are a lot of things here. You need to use the MLA International Bibliography. You could use JSTOR. I'm okay with JSTOR. But the thing is, yes, you can use those. You put them in quotations and use proper MLA citation, okay? Proper MLA citation. And now if you want to paraphrase, that's okay too. But you make sure you put it into your own words, and you still need citation, a parenthetical citation, author's last name, page number, that sort of thing. Also, I'm glad you asked that, because that reminds me. Okay, going over here, and we're going to find, let me see, Pope, Ray, Lock. We're going to do this one more time. Okay, and hopefully we find the same ones. Okay, let's say we go with commodity and religion. We're going to go back and look at that full text. And it is acting weird. There we go. Okay. That one doesn't have it. Many of these articles Many of these articles have something called an abstract. I don't know what this one. Oh, these are all the same journal. Okay. I need a journal that's got abstracts. Okay, sometimes I can't find, I don't see one right off, but usually the abstract will be the first paragraph. It'll be, like a separate kind of font. It'll be smaller type or something like that. Don't use the abstract for your summary. That's also plagiarism. You can't just lift the abstract and use it in your annotated bibliography. You have to read the article, summarize it, and just write in your words what the author was doing and saying. Okay? So that, yes.
I'm sorry, this is going back to the beginning, but as far as the topic goes, we can choose to write about whatever we want as long as it relates to the story.
Yes, yes. The only things that, I'll turn the light on because I don't think yes, you can write on any subject as long as you can get a 3-point thesis out of it, basically. And I've got that explained in the guide to the research paper. You want something that's a theme. It needs to have something arguable. So you don't want to argue something like, Blake wrote the songs of innocence and experience. We know that, okay? You could argue something like the dualism there. You could argue some kind of a theme that Voltaire is tracing with religion or political institutions or war or something like that. As long as it's a theme that you can argue so that somebody might say, I don't know about that, because you want to talk about it from an angle. So you've got something to argue. The one thing that you should not write about is do not do a biographical interpretation of the literature. That means do not say because let's see.
We don't relate it to the author's life.
Right. I do not want a paper about the author's life. Because too often I get things like, Emily Dickinson was manic depressive, and so she never left her house, and she was really sad and wrote about death. And that's totally off base, okay? You don't want to do that. I mean, yes.
What about like if we were to do the colonialism topic, could we write about like what's going on during that author's life?
Yes. Now, if you're saying colonialism is part of his poetry, if you're saying that he is opposing the colonialism that's going on at that time, you could say, because this is what's happening, and he sees that. With Voltaire, that could actually be really important because with Voltaire's Candide, he witnessed some of these things. And so much of Voltaire is historically, they're historic incidents that happened. The main thing that you don't want to do is have more copy about the historical event. You want most of the stuff that you write about, most of it should be about the poetry. If the history helps that, that's fine. That
But
works.
don't like write history like page.
Right. Make sure it is an interpretation of the poetry. Yeah. Okay. I've also been grading the posts. I don't have them all graded, but what I'm doing, because I'm also techno chicken, I guess I am. I just really don't like technology that much. But, and because I honestly cannot read and sit at a computer screen and read anymore that long. So I'm printing them out in bigger type so I can see them, and I've printed out your posts, and I'm cutting them apart and I'll hand them back. I don't have them all done, but I have some of them. But I have started marking them. I wanted to do it this way so I can mark the grammar so that you can see the style and grammar stuff that's important for your papers. So here are a few things, and I'm straying seriously from the whole poetry today, but it's important that we do this in time for you to think about your writing. A couple of things that I'll tell you that I've found significant. Okay, fragments are not complete sentences. Fragments. Comma splices are where you have a comma linking two sentences. And you need, instead, when you've got a subject and a verb and another subject and a verb, you either need a period and a capital letter. 3 lines means capitalize that. Or you need a semicolon, that works with no capital letter. Or you can use a conjunction, a comma, and a conjunction. The coordinating conjunction. The coordinating conjunctions are for, and, nor, but, oh, or, yet, so, yeah, fanboys. It's an acronym, okay? Can you actually get that, or did I do it too small?
I can get the first top part, but.
So it's for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so with the comma. You need this. You can't just have a comma that links 2 sentences unless you've got that conjunction. Also, fused sentences, I really only ran across one. Fused sentences, sometimes I'll just put fused sentences where you've got some phrases and clauses kind of mixed together that are joined with commas, or maybe not. That's where you've got 2 sentences linked with nothing. You just kept going. So these, along with SVAGR. What is SVAGR?
Subject verb agreement.
Subject verb agreement. This typically happens when you drop an S off of the end of a verb where you need it because you have a singular subject. Okay? So it's like maybe he believe, or he think, something like that, where you need an S. He believes or he thinks. Okay? So what we need to make sure of, these are the things that cost you the most on grammar. Subject verb agreement, fragment, comma splice, and few sentences. Cost you a lot on a research paper. If you have these in your posts, I recommend that you go to the Learning Center and get them to help you significantly with your research papers. Okay? I started marking these on your papers. The other thing that I marked, but I did not mark it consistently on the posts, but I kind of circled it here and there, and I didn't count off because they are posts, and I asked you what you think. But for your research paper, you may not, I need a different color. I'm going to use red. Okay? I'll use red here. There's to be no first or second person. Okay? And you don't really need it most of the time in your posts because you're just saying Blake thinks. Blake is. You don't have to say, I think Blake says, or I think Blake is doing, or whatever. First person is I, me, my opinion, we, us. He is speaking to us, or we do blah, blah, blah. Instead, you want to say the reader, or the readers, okay? Second person is you. It really gets funny in 101 and 102 when my students write, when you go into battle, you really must seek kleos. I don't go into battle. I never have. So it comes across really funny when the reader is reading something and you refer to them as you. Or it's supposed to do this to your mind, or whatever. So no you or your. Also no mine. No me, my, or mine. No in my opinion, or I think, or whatever. Typically you can just mark out, I think that, just mark it out and you've got a sentence after that. It's just kind of a way of saying, or you're apologizing for what you think. Just say it. Blake thinks, Blake does, whatever. So those are the, is that the camera? Okay, another thing that did count off was being vague. Being vague is something like, now I've got to find a vague thing. Okay, here was one of the, in the poem The Tiger, I personally think the creator is us. Don't use I, and you want to say the reader. That's that first person problem. You need to give examples from the poem. Pope goes into a deeper description. What do you mean? Give me an example of a deep description. Maybe, let's see, it's you almost have to see or hear the vague things to see what I mean. Okay. In William Blake's poems, The Tiger and the Lamb, he uses very descriptive words to paint portraits of his writings, which doesn't make sense, but that's okay. Descriptive words, such as, you need to give me some such as. He is more detailed. Pope is more detailed. What do you mean exactly? Oh, Blake's poem, The Tiger, is very interesting. No, I mean, it wouldn't be in the book. It's supposed to be very interesting. So you want to say why. You want to just be more specific. Oh, also, Blake tries to engage the reader in a different way than Pope does. But you can't tell me they're different because they do it in a different way. You have to tell me what the difference is. Blake does this while Pope does that. You've got to give specifics. And so that's important for the posts and for the paper as well. Yes.
About the first person thing, like in some of the posts, you're like, what is your opinion about this?
Yeah, I'm not upset about the first and second person. I marked it just to highlight in everybody's mind on the posts what that first and second person is, because you're right. What if I ask, what is your opinion about blah, blah, blah? It lends itself to saying like that. You don't have to. You could practice not using I think, I feel, whatever. You could practice that in the post. You don't have to say I think or I feel. You could just say it because your picture's right there by it. I didn't count off on the post for that. Where I counted off was for other stuff that I marked. I went ahead and marked it just so that people could see where that is. But yeah, on the post, I'm not counting off for it. I'm just saying, this is what's coming, so watch for that. All right. Do you have questions about that stuff? Okay. And I just kind of wanted to give you some direction because we've got the papers coming. As far as finishing, well, we want to do Coleridge and Keats, and I think that's all we have before the exams. Am I right? Can somebody just confirm that for me? We only have Coleridge and Keats. I don't have a Sylvius and Charlie. Okay, what I will ask you to do for your posts, let's not do one this week.
Yes!
Okay. I received a happy response there. Okay, no posts this week. We will talk about Coleridge next class and Keats. Go ahead and read, okay, you're going to read Coleridge's Kubla Khan. Go ahead and read Keats' Nightingale. And then we will review for the exam as well. We'll take 10 minutes both classes and do a review, okay? All right. Not Keats' Nightingale. Keats' Ode on a Grecian Urn. Sorry. Ode on a Grecian Urn. Keats, yes.
In our bibliography, you want, like, obviously we write on the article about, like, how long do you want that to be?
5 to 7 sentences
Per source.
Right. 5 to 7 sentences per source. So it's almost like just doing a post on each source.
Okay.